Do you think you're playing football? Do you think you're playing football? Do you think you're playing football? You are showing me nothing.
Fires, Mike Sims, Walker, knocked down.
Oh my God! Davis is going running all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again.
Jackson takes it himself. Look at him turn back and forth. Oh! He broke his ankles.
I have never seen this before in my life.
Still looking, firing, near corner. It's caught.
Denver, unbelievable.
And welcome to the Fourth Down Fiasco.
Hello and welcome to the Fourth Down Fiasco, your go-to podcast for an in-depth exploration of all things football. Each week we dissect the highs and lows of last week's games, offering expert analysis, yes, I said expert, player insight, and memorable moments. I am the Hilton Hotel hero, Jordan Pryor, and with me are the rising stars of the podcast industry, Patrick Mahomes, head of PR, Tanner Vinsky, and the first man to receive a restraining order from Patrick Mahomes, Danny Weber. Say hello to the people, y'all.
Hey.
Yo.
The rundown of today's podcast will go like this. In our first segment, we'll dive into the results from the conference championships, followed by Super Bowl predictions in the second segment. And of course, we'll round it out with more ELF announcements and some Pro Bowl talk. And as always, you can rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, share it with your friends, and follow us on social media. We are at @4thdown_pod on Twitter and at Fourth Down Fiasco on TikTok and Instagram. With that, it's 4th down and goal to go, fellas. My homies. Are we going to win today?
Are we going to kick a field goal or go for it on 4th down twice?
Funny that you mentioned that. I was going to say that the Detroit Lions are the textbook definition of the 4th down fiasco.
Yep.
The Chiefs also chose to not go for it on 4th, or to go for it on 4th too, but of course that
they won the
Kansas
game.
City, it works, right?
Yeah.
Just doesn't even matter, but
Theirs was a little bit of a different situation we're talking about.
Yeah. I was really... Oh, sorry.
So it actually was the exact same situation for a second there, because they were up by 17 and they could have kicked a field goal to go up by 20. And what was it for the Lions? They were up by 21 and they could have kicked a field goal to go up by 24. So it wasn't like the exact same, but it was kind of like... It was like, you could go up by 3 scores for both of them, and they both chose not to. So
Fair.
The weirdest thing for me is I feel like Dan Campbell switched when he should have gone for the touchdown on 4th at the end of the second half. I thought he should have gone for the touchdown instead of kicking the field goal. And then later on, he should have kicked the field goal instead of going for it on 4th. So I just think that he just didn't have it right. Just wasn't a good call, but it happens.
yeah.
Got to respect aggression.
Yeah, I you got to respect aggression to an extent. Like,
I'm in the same boat where it's like a lot of people nowadays, they talk about field goals as a -4 rather than a +3, where people say like, oh, if you settle for a field goal, that's -4 points in the modern NFL because it's such a high powered offense league.
mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that. I mean, hey, maybe that's just because I watch a football team that still practices, football from the 50s. But like 3 points is 3 points. Like, and I think in both of the conference championships games we saw, I think both of the teams, the Chiefs and the Lions, who both elected not to go for it, they put themselves in a lot more favorable position. And that's not saying if they would have taken the 6 points that they still would have beaten San Francisco. But I definitely think it increases their percentage significantly.
They lost by 3.
But, it's football, though. Because they lost by 3 and they didn't kick it twice doesn't mean they would have won by 3, right?
But, you could argue that it's a -4 in the regular season versus certain
But not in the playoffs.
But in the playoffs, 3 points, you need – a point is a point. And especially to go up by a third possession. Like, if you were up 10,
it's huge.
If you were up 10, maybe go for it, because you kick a field goal, it's still 2 possessions no matter what. But to go from a whole nother possession with only a quarter left to play. Like, what are the odds they get 3 full possessions in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think the first election to not go for the field goal was more egregious than the second one. The second one, it's kind of like, all right, the momentum has shifted. We need to get a touchdown here to really bring momentum back, right?
Yeah.
I think that made sense. The first one, though, it's like, I mean, I guess you really wanted to, like, stomp on their necks and get the kill, but, like, you effectively put the game away if you go up by 17 in that position, you know?
Unless something drastic happens, you put the game away at 17.
And I think the worst mistake Dan Campbell made was running it on that third down when they had 3 timeouts left and they had to burn a timeout.
You have 2,000-yard rushers, and you run it with a wide receiver.
Yeah, and the thing is it's a stupid call regardless, because let's say you don't get it on third with a pass play, run it on fourth, because then it doesn't matter if you don't convert or not. You turn over on downs, you know? Like, then it doesn't matter if you burn the timeout or not.
But running it with a wide receiver when you have 2 running backs that are almost twice the size of that wide receiver, who are already averaging like 6 yards a carry during the game. What's your thought process even there? Like, that's just
what are you smoking?
Crazy.
I mean, that was my issue with, you know, again, going back to all of the fourth down situations and everything. At the end of the first half, you know, you're on the 2-yard line, and up to that point, San Francisco could not stop Detroit's run game to save their life. No. And you know, in that particular situation, you know, especially with it being still first half, I personally, I would be more willing to elect to go for it in that type of a situation. You know, yes, if you don't end up getting it, it sucks going into the locker room. I do agree that generally speaking, points are points. I think in that particular situation, that is what, as Tanner would call it, a -4, because I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, dude, if you just line up and play big boy football like you have been the entire first half, you're going to get a score here. And, you know, I think this game even looks completely different if the score is, you know, 28-7 instead of 24-7 at half. 28-7, all of a sudden, something about that score just sounds like, we got no chance.
Yeah. And I was sitting there at halftime. I was like, they're going to go for it. Like, they're on the 2-yard line. Why wouldn't they go for it? Like, they went for
it's Dan Campbell.
They went for a 2-point conversion at the 15-yard line a couple weeks ago. And they don't try to go for it at the 2-yard line when they can't stop anything. It's like...
Yeah, just some very odd decision-making from Dan Campbell.
His play calling is all backwards. And end of the game, their final drive before the onside kick, would you guys have gotten a field goal range, kicked the field goal right away, and kept a minute and a half on the clock? Or would you burn a minute and a half trying to get a touchdown when you know you're going to have to try to get a second possession anyways?
The big difference between Dan Campbell and I is I wouldn't have fucking ran the ball on third down, right? That's the main issue. Like, that's the main issue with it is I don't necessarily think it matters, honestly. Whether or not you get the touchdown or the field goal first, you need both. Who cares which one you get first?
You need 3 timeouts.
The issue is, you know, they got the ball, like, they effectively had to have them punt the ball because they got 3 stops. So if they didn't burn that timeout, they would have had 40 seconds to get down into field goal range. And you're out of timeouts, but I think if you start at the 15 or 20, or hopefully the 25 in that situation, you're probably going to get into field goal range with 40 seconds on the clock.
Especially with how the Lions offense,
especially with how they were cooking. But the first half, I mean, like, then all of a sudden there's momentum, right? There's momentum for you to go down the field and score and get this game into overtime.
Yep.
And it just didn't go down that way because they never gave themselves the chance. They had to go on the onside, and it was a great onside attempt, right?
It was.
Like, he kicked it perfectly. If the guy wouldn't have touched the ball and let it bounce, you know, there's a chance that he might have recovered that.
Yeah, that was such a weird. That was like, what was it? A foot and a half that he touched it early. Like, it was almost perfect. It was almost perfect, but I think even if there's a world where he lets it bounce and then he goes and dives on it after it bounces and then it's 10 yards away and they recover and they get a chance, but you can't put your hope down on an onside. Like, you can't say, like,
we're going to put ourselves in a position to get an onside. Like, you need to give yourselves the 3 timeouts and trust your defense is going to get that stop.
Yeah.
And it just felt like Dan Campbell didn't trust his guys. He didn't trust his guys to get that stop at the end of the game. He didn't trust his kicker to kick those field goals. It felt terrible. And I don't think it's entirely on Dan Campbell. Like, I don't think we should say like this was the most inept, like this was an inept coaching job and he's the reason he lost. No. Because I mean, realistically, the most of the blame should come down to Josh Reynolds, right? He dropped the first 4th and 5, which honestly, if he caught that, like we were saying, would put the game away because they're probably scoring a touchdown at the end of that drive.
And I think also a little bit goes on Gibbs too for that fumble. That was the worst timed fumble. It's funny. I have a friend. Shout out to my boy David Patino, who is a 49ers fan, who's on cloud 9 right now. And I was talking mad shit to him, at halftime, and 49ers score relatively quick. Then they got the stop because of the fumble, and then they scored again. And as soon as the fumble happened, I was like, oh no, they're going to go down the field and they're going to score. And we're going to have a ball game, And that you cannot fumble in a conference championship game or a Super Bowl. That is the equivalent of quarterbacks throwing picks. You cannot have turnovers in a game of this magnitude and expect to win, especially against a team like the 49ers.
Yeah. Thankfully for Gibbs, it was only the 2nd worst fumble of the day. So,
to keep your friend on cloud 9, I have a stat that he might really enjoy. Every time the Niners have beat a team that has blue in their logo in the championship game, they've won the Super Bowl.
Oh God, no! Don't no. Yep. This is what we're not going to do.
Stupid fucking stat.
Yep.
Of course, Danny has that one.
Yeah, of course, Danny's got that one on lock. What was the temperature of the games in those games that were played as well?
68 degrees and 73.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Of course, he knows that too. Awesome. So this is what we're not going to do. We're not going to take a clip of that and post it anywhere because David is going to just continue to talk shit. So Patino needs to be put at ease. I need the Chiefs to whoop their ass in the Super Bowl.
But here, let's talk about Purdy real quick.
He stepped up after a shitty first half,
but he also kind of got bailed out a little bit. The Lions dropped that interception off his helmet. Ayuk came out of freaking nowhere.
Oh, I forgot about that.
The Lions play calling just kind of crapped the bed. Like,
here's what I think about the Purdy performance. Right, he's still fringe top 10. He's in my head. He's in the Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott range. Right.
Yeah.
Where. If anybody argues one or the other, I think it's really just down to what you prefer and what you want.
Yeah.
I don't think I think both there's going to be two sides of the spectrum that are going to come out really fucking hot after this game. They're going to come out to Brock Purdy is awful and you could throw any other quarterback in that position and they do well because he's in offensive heaven, which is partially true. It is offensive heaven.
Oh, yeah.
And the other half of it is going to be Brock Purdy is Joe Montana.
Well, so we have RG3 and Alex Smith already saying that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think RG3 also, I don't want to get into an RG3 tangent, but RG3 has been annoying as hell this year.
Oh, seriously. I don't know what's going on with
this year? Just this year?
Yeah, this year he has a bigger platform.
That's true.
Just this year?
Yeah, but RG3 has been terrible. It's like Emmanuel Acho. It's like if I see Emmanuel Acho or RG3 say in a sports opinion, I turn the TV off. I can't do it.
And what is it?
Yeah, if I see the tweet on my timeline, I ignore it.
Yeah. But yeah, I have one last thing to say about this game is Dan Campbell is probably the guy to hit on 18 at blackjack.
He definitely does.
Yeah.
He might hit on 20. He might think he's going to get the ace.
I'm getting that ace, baby.
So, but before we transition over to Chiefs Ravens, I do want to ask a very important question. Is this the worst choke job that we've seen since the Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl?
No, the Atlanta. sense? I don't know, maybe.
As far as postseason, I know that there have been probably worse regular season choke jobs.
I think it's a tragic way to lose.
Jacksonville versus the Chargers Chargers versus Jacksonville last year.
Yeah, Chargers. Yeah, Chargers was actually a worse loss.
27-0.
Yeah, 27-0's pretty tough to beat.
Yeah,
fair. I don't know. I think with the implications of this game, it weighs a little heavier in my brain.
If the seeding would have been different,
I'll let y'all have it.
If the seeding would have been different, like if the Lions were the number 1 seed and choked it away, like that would have been bad.
I also think that the Lions well outdid their expectations this year. So
completely agree.
I don't really feel like it's a massive choke job for the Lions, just because they probably shouldn't have made it there.
No.
Whereas that Chargers-Jags game, the Chargers had no right to lose that game, you know?
Yeah. I still think that it's a choke job, but I get what you're saying, Tanner, because, I mean, at the end of the day, I still give their season an A, you know? Like, if I'm going to grade it, I'm giving them an A. Not an A+, but if they would have made the Super Bowl, I'd have given it an A+, win or lose.
Well, that's like people saying that the Bucs should fire Todd Bowles for the end of his playoff game.
No.
The Bucs are supposed to go 4-13.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. The Bucks I'd probably give them a B for their season, but we will grade people's seasons whenever we interview folks in the off season.
Yeah.
Y'all see that spicy little tease for what we got going on in the future? Yeah. Hint, hint.
But I think we can all agree that it was a massive choke job by the Lions.
It was.
That's not a discussion.
It was a bad loss.
But it's not the worst we've seen in recent years.
Fair enough. All right. Chiefs Ravens. Battle of the I do just want to say, I said it was going to be a defensive battle last week, and y'all gave them normal football scores. I believe Danny said 27-24. I called the defensive battle.
You did.
Tanner made sure that on last week's pod that everybody knew he went 4-0 in the divisional round. So I need people to know that I called this one.
Hey, we all won our 2 picks this week.
Did we all pick? We all picked Chiefs 49ers?
We all picked the same ones. We all said,
good work, guys.
We can't bet about Patty Mahomes, and we don't see the Lions doing anything, which was half right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
this is why we're experts.
Yep, experts, baby. Bet the house.
Expert analysis.
It's almost like we watch a lot of football.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
But I have a little rant about the Ravens.
Ooh.
Because
the floor is yours, Daniel.
So everyone knows the Ravens offense, it's based around the run, right? Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards, what was his name before he got hurt in week 1? What was his name? Why can't I think of it? J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins?
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins. Even Zay Flowers gets in on the
Flowers.
Yeah. Do you guys know how many run plays they had on Sunday?
So they had
11.
8. But they had 6 by running backs.
Yes.
2 of the run plays were by Zay Flowers.
Do you know how many were in the first drive of those 8?
4?
2.
4?
They had 3 plays. 2 of them runs. They started the game with 2 runs, then abandon it. Last week, so in the divisional round, they had 31 rushing attempts by running backs. Wild card 17. Week 18, 25. The week before 19. And the week before that, 30. How do you get to the number 1 seed by running the ball with your running offense and then rush the ball 8 total times? Against a Kansas City defense that is 28th in the league, giving up over 4.5 yards a carry, and the Ravens' offense is averaging over almost 5 yards a carry.
And Gus Edwards went 3 for 20 for 6.7.
Yeah. They ran the ball 3 times on early downs, so first or second down, for a combined 17 yards.
No, this is... People are going to mostly harping on Dan Campbell this weekend, but I think John Harbaugh had a way worse coaching ineptitude than Campbell did.
I agree with that.
Campbell coached a pretty damn good game besides some pretty massive brain farts.
Yeah.
Harbaugh went out there and literally shit his pants on the first drive.
They just try to copy Kansas City with the passing offense, and they're not built to pass. Lamar Jackson is not a passing quarterback.
Are you saying that he's not very quarterbacky?
I like that tweet.
I hate having to do this because I hate the Ravens with every fiber in my being. But Lamar Jackson is a good passer. He is fundamentally a developed, good passing quarterback. And I would argue that he is the second best quarterback in the NFL behind Patrick Mahomes. And I know I would get a lot of flack from that. And I know that sounds fucking sacrilegious to stay as a Steelers fan. But he is one of the league's best talents. And if you want to put him at 2, 3, or 4, whatever. But I think he's top 5 definitively. And it's because he is a damn good passer. But when you have arguably the best passing defense and you throw the ball 37 times against them and run the ball 8 times against them, what are you doing? You're expecting them to fail.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
I will say, I mean, aside from there definitely were a couple of times where Kansas City's DBs should have been penalized for some stuff. We're not going to get into that because, we everybody knows how we feel about the refs right now. But
I also think it was the Ravens played extremely undisciplined football and deserved all the penalties they got. I mean,
we're not
they were doing stupid shit left and right. Yeah,
I wasn't saying that. I was going to say that Kansas
the Chiefs were getting away with more than they should have.
There were a lot of uncalled penalties.
Aside from the uncalled penalties, Kansas City's defense looked just mean. They looked nasty. They just there was a level of physicality that I was seeing from their defense that, I mean, I've occasionally seen it throughout the season, but I mean, they were hitting folks. And if Kansas City's defense can play this well, they're going to win it all.
Well, Tanner's been saying all year that this is the best defense Patrick Mahomes has had.
Yeah, which is, I mean, hey, you know, if you have the greatest quarterback in the league and you say, screw it, we're not going to give you any weapons aside from Travis Kelce, but we're going to give you the number 1 defense in the NFL. Screw it. Okay. I trust Patrick Mahomes to still win.
It's almost like the Patriots did that for 20 years.
Wow. Give Tom Brady a bunch of average wide receivers and a great tight end. And a great defense.
And a really good defense.
Okay, Wes Welker was above average. There is not a dude on Kansas City, wide receiver wise, that is on Wes Welker's level. Same with the other short little white dude that they had in the slot.
Julian Edelman. But if Rashid Rice...
Edelman, thank you.
Kent State legend, baby.
Kent State, KSU.
Oh, God.
If Rashid...
best quarterback in our history.
That is true. Maybe that's kind of true, yeah. Let me counter that point about Wes Welker. If Rashid Rice can continue what he did his rookie year, he will be better than Wes Welker.
Yes, but we're talking about right now.
He probably had better stats than Welker ever did.
Well, I'll tell you this. The Patriots teams that had a really dominant offense didn't win.
That's true. They had Randy Moss and didn't win a Super Bowl.
They didn't win with Randy Moss. They didn't. That's the way it's been. And the thing is that's why the first 2 Super Bowls Mahomes won were so impressive, because he had a bottom tier defense. So he was just playing superhuman level football. And now everybody's really pissed off watching the Chiefs this year because we're watching Tom Brady again, where Tom Brady, I would argue all 6 of his Super Bowls that he won, he wasn't that great.
No, he got really out by his kicker and defense a lot.
He had amazing special teams and an amazing defense, so he didn't have to do much. And that's why it sucked watching the Patriots win every year, because they were just such a boring team to watch, and they kept winning. And that's the difference is with Mahomes has actually willed his team to Super Bowl berths, and he just hasn't had to do it this year. And that's why everybody's anti-Chiefs, because we're watching this shit again. We're watching a dominant defense carry a good quarterback, and then we're just seeing the same thing over and over again. Yeah. And I guarantee a lot of the quarterbacks that we all say, oh, they're gonna get it 1 year. They're not gonna get it. They're not gonna beat the Chiefs. It's the same thing with Brady. I mean, think about all the great quarterbacks we watched through the thousands and tens. We watched Drew Brees got 1, Aaron Rodgers got 1, Big Ben got 2, Eli got 2, Peyton got 2. Brady got 7.
Yeah.
Rivers got 0. Matt Ryan got 0. Stafford got 0. Newton got 0.
Yeah.
We're going to see that with this. There's a good chance that we see, Lamar gets 0, Allen gets 0, Burrow gets 0. There's a chance that we see those things happen again because the Chiefs are always going to be there. They're going to be in the championship game or they're going to be in the Super Bowl. And it's inevitable, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Brady always had one quarterback that he wouldn't always beat. It would kind of go back and forth, and that was either Manning brother. He couldn't beat the one, he could beat the other. And the only quarterback now that can beat Mahomes in the championship game, because he's proved it, compared to any other top 5 quarterback in the NFL, is Burrow. So if Burrow can stay healthy and the Bengals could stay healthy, that is the only challenge the Chiefs have, because Jackson cannot hold up to it. Allen has proved he can't hold up to it. The only quarterback that has beat Mahomes in the biggest stage is Burrow.
Well,
I have to. Sorry, go for it, Jordan.
I was just going to say there needs to be an asterisk by the Eli Manning wins because that New York defense was so just
that goes back into
monstrous.
It goes into
but so there needs to be an asterisk by that. But what you got, Tanner?
And again, I hate that I have to defend Josh Allen again, but Josh Allen has played almost perfect in every matchup he's had against Mahomes.
Yeah,
the Bills just suck.
The team as a whole, the only team that has currently beat Mahomes in his prime is Cincinnati.
Was Cincinnati. But the thing is a lot of people are going to say this about the Lions, and a lot of people are going to say, it's okay, Lions, you're going to get back there. It's going to happen. It is so hard to get back there. I don't, and that's the thing is Cincinnati might get back there. But there's a reality where Cincinnati doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
And it wouldn't be shocking.
With the AFC now, it's absurd. There's 12 teams that can fight for 2 spots in a championship game if everyone stays healthy.
And that's the thing is with the AFC, you got to go through Mahomes. And again, we might see a lot of these amazing quarterbacks never get past Mahomes. And that's going to be crazy. I mean, think about the 2018 draft class. I remember us watching that in our dorm, Danny, where we those quarterbacks that went, most people were talking, it's there's going to be 4 franchise quarterbacks there. There was Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, Lamar Jackson.
Daniel Jones.
And Daniel Jones was in that draft class.
He wasn't? Why do I always think he was?
No. Daniel Jones was the same one as Dwayne.
Twice now.
Yeah, Danny Jones was in that one. Mason Rudolph was in that one.
Oh, yeah.
But those 5 quarterbacks all went in the first round. The only one to make a Super Bowl berth is Sam Darnold as the backup right now for the 49ers.
That's great.
He's the only one of those 5. And the thing is Baker looked like a franchise guy when he started. Lamar is a franchise guy. Allen is a franchise guy. And we don't have to talk about Rosen or Darnold. But Darnold is the one that actually fucking got there because he's backing up. Isn't that that was 2018. It's been 5-6 years since then.
Yeah. What's still absurd is Lamar Jackson's only 26 or something like that. And he's been in the league for so long because he came in at 22.
He's only 26?
He came in at 21, 22. Yeah, he came in young.
That's crazy.
I think Burrow's older, the same age or older than Jackson.
Fair enough. And
Burrow came in 2 years later. But to go about that, the AFC runs through Mahomes. I'm going to say Cincinnati just because I'm a Bengals fan, but this is the best chance Cincinnati has to get back to the Super Bowl because we'll have Burrow back healthy and we have a 4th place schedule. We should have had a 1st or 2nd place schedule, realistically, if we stayed healthy. But for us to end up with a 4th place schedule against this AFC, against the AFC teams, is the luckiest thing we could have had happen.
Well, that's what I find so crazy is with Lamar not making it this year. When are we going to see Lamar make it? This was supposed to be the year.
Oh yeah, he was the only healthy quarterback besides Mahomes.
Yeah, But Mahomes is healthy, so there's nothing.
Yeah, that's the problem. Mahomes is healthy. Well, any closing comments before we finish up talking about Chiefs Ravens?
Like Tanner said last week, don't bet against Patty.
Just don't. Yeah, I agree.
And Taylor Swift.
Well. We're going to talk plenty about Taylor in the next segment whenever we go through our Super Bowl predictions, who's going to win, right after a message from our sponsors.
This podcast is sponsored by Hair Club.
Fellas, are you losing your hair? Hairline receding, maybe? In the past, we as men had limited options. We could either rock the grandpa hairline, shave it, or resort to a very obvious-looking toupee. Well, the good news is there's an option for you now. Hair Club is a hair restoration and hair replacement service with offices spanning across the United States. Hair Club is different from other hair restoration places because they use cutting-edge technology like TricoView hair and scalp analysis, utilizing micromagnification to examine hair and scalp health. This provides better diagnostics of your hair and determines solutions to stop your personal hair loss. Solutions range from EXT extreme hair therapy to keep and regrow your existing hair by reactivating follicles and adding volume, X-Strands hair systems that is color and texture matched to perfection to blend with the rest of your hair, or even hair transplant solutions for those who are further along in their hair loss. I personally use the X-Strand system and have never turned back. My wife thinks I'm as sexy as ever and my confidence is at an all-time high, but I'm just a podcaster, right? Well, Hair Club has become such a renowned name that even dudes like two-time NASCAR champion Joey Logano and primetime Emmy nominee Frankie Muniz both utilize Hair Club services. And if you ultimately decide on a service, be sure to use the code FOURTH, that's FOURTH, for 10% off everything you purchase. And get this, Hair Club is currently running a promotion for the month of January, and all their services are 20% off. So you can stack those savings with the code for a total of 30% off of your final purchase. There's no better time to get your hair back than now. So fellas, boost your confidence, get that look you want. Go to hairclub.com today.
Are you looking for a podcast to advertise your business? Well, you're in luck. Here at the Fourth Down Fiasco, we're looking for show sponsors. Whether you want to be a platinum sponsor and be mentioned at the beginning and end of every episode, or you just want a simple 30 or 60-second ad, we got you covered. If you're interested in having a spot on our show, you can reach us at fourthdownfiasco@gmail.com. That's fourthdownfiasco@gmail.com. We are excited to hear from you and even more excited to have you on the show. Join the Fiasco family now.
And welcome back to the Fourth Down Fiasco. So we have some Super Bowl predictions to talk about. So those of y'all who are joining in, 49ers, Chiefs, the rematch that nobody asked for. This is like Trump versus Biden part 2. How are we feeling, fellas?
Well, funny that you mentioned Trump versus Biden.
Oh, this God. Is the second... Be careful. Tread lightly.
It will. This is the second time we have had a Chiefs versus 49ers Super Bowl during an election year versus Trump and Biden. The last Super Bowl they competed in was an election year versus Trump and Biden. So it's
I remember it happened twice. Yeah. I remember that Super Bowl because I had to wear a mask to it. And I also went to that Super Bowl party with a bunch of church friends, and they all got drunk, and it was the first time I had ever seen like people at the church drink ever, and so it was just really funny.
Yeah, but it's odd that it's the same things happen twice. It's like history repeats itself or something.
That was the last Super Bowl we watched together, huh, Danny?
Yeah.
Aw,
sad.
Reminiscent.
R.I.P.
So what I'm hearing is, Tanner, what I'm hearing is you just got to drive over to Colorado, and we can all meet up at Danny's.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Come on. Actually, well, yeah. I'll text you guys about details later. It's okay.
Tanner, I will pay for at least one tank of gas for you.
I'll pay.
It honestly might just be better to fly. We'll see.
But anyways, yeah. So, what are y'all's thoughts on it? I mean, I think it's gonna be a hella fun Super Bowl if we're being honest. Like nobody's looking forward to the matchup, but the matchup itself is pretty great.
I'm gonna show my bracket every like 15 minutes to everybody I ever meet, saying that I predicted it this year. So That's all that matters.
Oh, what about
Yeah, you went 6-0 for the past 6 playoff games, haven't
fire.
you?
Why
Yeah.
did you not? FanDuel, Sportsbook, whatever, any sportsbook sponsor Tanner.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. What about I forget his name. I think his name's like Pete something, but he predicts the Super Bowl, or he like puts the Super Bowl picks in before the year even starts, and he's correctly guessed the last 3 Super Bowl winners and the matchups, and already nailed it this year with the 2 and the.
He's a time traveler.
Yeah.
Has to be.
He before week 1 started, he picked Chiefs over 49ers for the Super Bowl. So we'll see what.
I mean, that's my pick personally.
I went on the rant last week about the NFL being weird. I can't see them letting the Chiefs lose.
Yeah.
To be fair, they did a good job of tricking us this year because they posted the Super Bowl logo with the purple and red, and everybody thought it was rigged for that. And then that didn't happen, and they re-released the blue and red one, so now we thought, okay, this is what it's going to be.
I have a theory
and then that didn't work out either.
Though. Do you know who is? Do you know who's rooting for the Chiefs and has a song called "Lavender Haze"?
All right, simmer down, calm yourself.
Taylor Swift.
Calm yourself. We're going too deep now.
Yeah,
we've dug too many holes. The tinfoil's come out.
I meant to make my hat. I forgot.
Yeah, you need to make the hat right now.
Dang. But
no, I think that my keys to winning for Kansas City is they've got to score first. I think if you make it a pass first game for Brock Purdy against that Kansas City secondary and their rush attack and everything else, I think that's Kansas City's best chance. Is if they score first, I think they win. If they don't, it's going to be tough because they suck against the run.
Yeah,
and
if you let CMC
lo and behold, the 49ers have a potential MVP, running back. That's hard to do, is to be an MVP as a running back these days. And so, they're going to be in a world of hurt if CMC gets going.
Yeah. Tanner?
I mean, I've been on the just bet for the Chiefs because it's Patrick Mahomes and stick to it, right? And I've been doing that, but at the very beginning of the playoffs, I picked Chiefs-Niners Super Bowl, and I picked the Niners to win. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's going to be so beautiful if that happens, that I predicted that before it started. So I'm going to try to manifest it, and I'm going to pick the Niners this time around.
Don't do that. So as your Dallas Cowboys friend, don't do that.
So you think Mr. Irrelevant is going to win a Super Bowl before Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson?
No, I think Sam Darnold's going to win a Super Bowl before Josh.
Oh my God, that's crazy!
The greatest ever quarterback of the United States. All right,
we're tweeting that if the Niners win. Congrats to Sam Darnold on beating.
Yeah, congrats Sam Darnold. Congrats to Jeebus.
I will say if Brock Purdy is a Super Bowl winner at the end of not next week, the week after, if he wins the Super Bowl, you have to change the Mr. Irrelevant pick to the Purdy pick. Yeah, NFL trademark it now. Send me some royalties. I'll take 10%.
And I'm going to go into why I'm actually going to pick the 49ers, right? And it's not just because I'm manifesting something, and it's not because I think Brock Purdy is capable of leading a Super Bowl winning team. The Ravens could have beaten the Chiefs if they would have relied on their run game, because the Chiefs have a terrible run defense. But they decided they wanted to air it out. For whatever reason, that is what they did. They were like, we're going to air it out. The 49ers aren't going to do that. The 49ers are going to run all over Kansas City's defense. And I think we're going to get a Christian McCaffrey Super Bowl MVP because he's probably going to get like 150 yards on the ground.
150 yards on the ground, probably 50 more receiving, 2 touchdowns.
He's gonna be a machine, and with how good that offensive line is, how good George Kittle is at blocking, and I think with how good that 49ers defense is, I don't think they're going to limit Mahomes. I think Mahomes is still going to go crazy, but I think they're going to do enough that they can keep control of the game clock and that they can win the time of possession battle. And if you win the time of possession battle against the Chiefs, you're probably going to win. It's the same thing against Brady. The Super Bowls he lost, the times he lost, it's because they didn't have the time of possession. Yeah. It's because they didn't have the ball enough. And I think there's only really one team that can control the time of possession against the Chiefs, and I think it's the 49ers. And it feels wrong because I think if you have the better quarterback and a good defense, that is always a winning formula, and that's the best one to go for. And Mahomes is 10 times the quarterback than Purdy is. So I should pick the Chiefs. But I just don't like that run defense. And I think Christian McCaffrey is just such an insane weapon at the running back position that I think he can carry them.
It's fair.
Yeah, I really like that statement. If the Chiefs get the ball first and score first, and
it's going to be tough.
Yeah, if they can stop the Niners even once and go up by 10 before they even get the ball back, it's going to be a completely different game than the 49ers are hoping for. But if they can get McCaffrey going, he could easily get 250 all-purpose yards. I could see McCaffrey getting 250 and Purdy getting 125.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I could see it too. Yeah.
Not even like just like putting Purdy down, but like if
and it could be a sneaky Deebo Samuel game. They could run the shit out of him too. So maybe only McCaffrey gets like 100 and he gets like 80. You know, it could be something like that. Like
even if I am the Niners and I go down by 10 in the first quarter, I would still just run the crap out of the ball.
I stick to the game plan. Yeah, 1,000%.
Do not panic. And Shanahan is a great coach. And
agreed.
I hope I would assume he wouldn't panic in a situation like that, but we're also not in his head. We've never been there. So I don't know what he would do in that situation.
Yeah, I don't think he would panic either, but I don't know. It's hard to say in the Super Bowl, and it's especially hard to say when you're playing the greatest quarterback head coach combo right now.
You're down 2 possessions against one of the greatest teams in the NFL.
But the 49ers had this monkey on their back with Shanahan that they couldn't come back from a lead, and they've done it in the last 2 weeks.
That's
so
true.
They could do it. I mean, it could change. And it's crazy at this point that Shanahan doesn't have a Super Bowl, you know? I feel like Shanahan's not going to end his career without a Super Bowl. And I don't think this is the 49ers' last chance. But it kind of feels like it in a lot of ways. And I feel like they're going to want this one more than the Chiefs. And that doesn't really account for a whole lot. But I think in this setting, the Chiefs are already a dynasty. And the 49ers have been so close pretty much our entire lives.
Oh, yeah. Did you guys see the stat they threw up before the 49ers game about their playoff history and win-loss record? In the wild card, they were at an 800% win, or an 800 win percentage. In the divisional, I think they were 12-5 or something like that. Then in the championship game, they're 7-12.
It's abysmal. Yeah.
And then in the
not abysmal, but it's bad.
It's it's over 750, over 750, 250 or whatever. And then in the Super Bowl, they're 5-2. It's how many Super Bowls could this 49ers team have if they won 4 of those 11 losses?
I mean, it depends on how many of those Super Bowls they play against Patrick Mahomes.
I guess that's true.
It is crazy that through the 80s and 90s, they won all 5 of their Super Bowl appearances, but they've lost both of theirs post 2000.
Shout out to the
I
too.
I do just want to say real quick, folks have been getting so swept up about the NFC Championship bullshit or whatever. The Niners have a longer Super Bowl drought than the Dallas Cowboys. That is the only piece I had to say about that. I'm sorry. I just had to. I'm a sore loser, so here we are.
I have another question. If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, are we going to see Travis Kelce back next year? He's 30. He's 33. He'd have 2 Super Bowl rings. Is he done?
3.
3?
You'd have 3.
Oh, 3. Is he done? And is he the greatest tight end of all time?
No.
That's just, I think is he? That's just
no. I don't think he's the greatest tight end of all time because I think there's 3 people you can easily argue above him. I think Gronk had more production, has more records, and has more longevity over Kelsey if he retires after a 3rd Super Bowl wins.
I like Gonzalez.
And Gonzalez, I think, is the most solidified probably tight end GOAT, right?
Yeah.
Gonzalez was insane. And I think Gates is better than Kelsey too.
I wish we would have seen Gates on a different team other than San Diego.
And you can
same with Gonzalez.
Yeah, same with Gonzalez. Because that's the thing that holds Gonzalez and Gates back is they never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Whereas Gronk has 4, and then Kelsey will have 3 after this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Gates and Gonzalez were more dominant than Gronk and Kelsey are.
They benefit.
And it's weird because Gates played around the same. It's also weird because Gates played around the same time as Gronk, but Gates was something else, man. And also shout out Kent State.
Kent State.
Oh my gosh! How many times are we gonna? That has to be like the 5th time in like 8 episodes that we've had on this show that y'all have brought up Kent State.
Well, it's because we have a lot of
for a MAC school, we have some pretty fucking sweet athletes that came from that school. All right, we got Antonio Gates, we got Josh Cribbs, we got Julian Edelman, we got James Harrison,
Nick Saban,
Jack Lambert.
You also have
Nick
the Kent
Saban.
State gun girl, you know?
That's a whole different
elite athletes only.
Oh, what's your
I didn't meet her.
What was the one punt return you guys had for like a year that came out of Kent State really fast?
Dre Archer.
Yeah, Dre Archer.
Dude, Dre Archer was sick.
Yeah.
He was not good in the NFL though.
No. But so you guys think Travis Kelce's done if they win a Super Bowl? If they lose, is he done?
No, I think win or lose. I don't know. I don't think that he's. Oh, did I turn on my headset mic? I did. I'm sorry. I had a weird echo in my headphones. I don't think that he retires regardless. I think that he's still got some years to play. I do think that for him to be sustainable in this offense, that they 2 things. Number 1, need to find a actual dog at wide receiver 1.
Oh yeah.
Since they have like nobody. I mean, Kadarius Toney is going to all of a sudden become god of football? No. Fine, whatever. But number 2, I do think that they need to draft another tight end to help alleviate some of the load that Travis Kelce has. Because I think that he's still, the thing about a lot of those big-bodied tight ends like Travis Kelce is the way that they play the game. They don't rely on speed. They don't rely on freak athleticism. They rely on being able to be a big target and leveraging their body in ways that defenders can't get to the ball no matter how it's thrown.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, you can play until you're in your late 30s as long as you don't get too many injuries or anything like that. So I think he'll stay, but I think for him to be most successful when he does stay is they need to have a backup tight end.
Yeah.
He can't be the number 1, and they need to find a backup tight end that, maybe on some of the run plays, take some of those blocks.
I do like Noah Gray. Their backup tight end isn't horrible. He's pretty quick.
Okay.
He's pretty big. He's not going to be anywhere near Travis Kelce. You can't draft 2 Travis Kelces in a row.
No.
But he could be a good substitute to help alleviate some of the snaps that Travis would have to keep his career going.
Yeah, because I think that, like this year he got, 934 yards or something like that?
He was like 15 away from 1,000. So he was at like or something like that.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
Because he was like
go ahead.
A catch and a half away from breaking that 1,000-yard mark.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was 984, not 934. But yeah, I think
you got there a lot quicker than I did.
Keeping him between the 800 and 900 range would probably be the best thing for him. And I think that's something that's sustainable. Yeah, exactly. And he's still he is an end zone threat. however you look at it, if you just like how I used to argue that with like Zeke Elliott, if you need 2 yards, Zeke's going to get you 2 yards. If you need 5 yards, from a receiver, Travis Kelce's going to get you those 5. That's just how they play.
Yeah, and like even on Sunday he went 11 for 11 with what, like 165 and 2 touchdowns. So, Travis Kelce.
I think that sounds about right.
Oh, so yeah, his stat line was insane. Here I can.
But
he went 11 for 116 and a touchdown.
116.
With a 10.5 average.
Okay,
good job.
I got the receptions right. That's all I care about. But any final words before we make our final official predictions? I know Tanner already kind of said his, but we'll go through again and say our final 3.
I'm gonna say Chiefs. If Chiefs score first, Chiefs win. So it's literally a coin toss for that, unfortunately. But yeah, I think if Chiefs score first, they win. I'm going to go Chiefs.
Tanner?
I'm going to stick with 40. I'm going to stick with 49ers as much as I've been on the Chiefs train this whole time and said that the Chiefs have the winning formula down. And as much as I think it's going to happen, I'm going to go with my pre-postseason prediction. I'm going to stick with the 49ers, and I think Christian McCaffrey is going to have an insane game.
Danny?
I think McCaffrey is going to have an insane game, but I think they're going to have to rely on Purdy just a bit too much, and I think he'll throw a couple costly picks, and so I'm going to have to go Chiefs over 49ers. Just because Mahomes and Kelce in the biggest stage, it's just going to be too hard.
Fair enough. As much as I don't want the 49ers to win, if they do, that would be so epic for Tanner.
I hope the Niners win. I just can't pick them.
Exactly. Same. For Tanner's sake, though.
If
I go 7-0.
It's done.
Crazy.
Shut down the pod. All 50 listeners out the window.
Don't shut it down. Bring them in. Bring the sports books in.
Bring them in.
So we will hop to our second commercial break here, and we'll be right back with some Elf news and making fun of the Pro Bowl.
And Danny and Jordan. Yeah, Danny and Jordan are going to hold it down as I got to get to work at 9 p.m. on a Monday, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
We do want to say real quick, though, that we appreciate what Tanner does. Tanner is a social worker, so he is truly, all jokes aside, actually doing the Lord's work, whatever you want to call it. He's doing good stuff. So
he's helping our youth.
We appreciate you greatly, Tanner, for what you do.
And I'm also a god at predicting football games.
That is true.
And very humble.
Word of who to pick up.
All right, bye, guys.
We'll be back.
Bye.
Fires can cause extensive damage, ruining your home, business, or property, costing you thousands, if not millions of dollars worth in damages. Fires can also have a more fatal effect on yourself and those you love. All this to say, you need to be prepared in the event of a fire. Western States Fire Protection is an all-in-one life safety service provider with coverage across the entire country west of the Mississippi. They can install new fire protection systems, alarms, inspect current systems, monitor them, and provide 24-hour repair in case of an emergency. Don't wait until your business or property burns to the ground. Be proactive and save yourself time, money, and even your life by making sure that you have an updated fire protection system. Visit www.wsfp.com, that's WSFP, the acronym for Western States Fire Protection.com, and request a quote today, and let them know that Jordan Pryor and Danny Weber at the Fourth Down Fiasco sent you. Western States Fire Protection, protecting lives and property since 1985.
Are you looking for a podcast to advertise your business? Well, you're in luck. Here at the Fourth Down Fiasco, we're looking for show sponsors. Whether you want to be a platinum sponsor and be mentioned at the beginning and end of every episode, or you just want a simple 30 or 60-second ad, we got you covered. If you're interested in having a spot on our show, you can reach us at fourthdownfiasco@gmail.com. That's fourthdownfiasco@gmail.com. We are excited to hear from you and even more excited to have you on the show. Join the Fiasco family now.
And welcome back to the Fourth Down Fiasco. Again, as y'all heard in the second segment, Tanner had to leave. He had an emergency with work. He is a social worker, so, when duty calls, he has to go, and we greatly appreciate what he does for the community. But we are going to dive into some Elf news as well as talk about the Pro Bowl a little bit. So I do want to start off just by announcing that I have picked my ELF team, and the poll came in. We had a whopping, I believe, 19 votes, if I remember correctly.
That's more than I expected.
Woohoo! Hey, yeehaw, motherfucker!
Yeehaw!
We had to get at least one F-bomb in on this show.
That's true.
But so my team is going to be Raiders Tyrol, not the Tyrol Raiders, Raiders Tyrol, out in Austria in the Alps. Area of Austria, and I'm excited for it just because I looked up pictures of Innsbruck, which is where the stadium is, and it looks like Colorado on steroids. It looks gorgeous. Yes, you're in a bowl.
You're just in a bowl. Yeah, a bowl of beautiful mountains. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I need that. I saw their stadium and I was like, yep, I got to go catch a game. I don't know how. ELF, feel free to sponsor us. We can talk more about it later.
So what I'm hearing is we have the Battle of Austria on our hands.
Ooh, we do have the Battle of Austria. What is the Battle of Austria, Danny?
Week 2.
Oh. So what is that, the first week of June?
First week of June.
Cool. It's a Thursday game, isn't it?
I think it is a Thursday game. It's 8 a.m. our time, so...
So what I'm hearing is you and I are going to take off of work.
We will be working remote Thursday.
No, screw that, dude. I'm taking Thursday off. I am coming to your place and bringing beer.
That's fine. 8 a.m. football, baby.
8 a.m. football and beer, baby. Woohoo!
But I will say your team does not have a quarterback yet. So
yeah, I saw that. That's unfortunate.
Your team surrounding is fine already, though.
Yeah, I mean, we went 8-4 last season, and made playoffs. So I mean, it'll be fine. I'm just glad that I'm cheering for them and not the Barcelona Dragons. Once I realized that the Barcelona Dragons went 2-10 last year, I was like, ooh, don't want to cheer for them. That doesn't sound like a good time.
Ooh, they also do not have a quarterback yet.
And neither does my third choice, the Madrid Bravos, which that I understand because they're a new team, but... Yeah.
So all three of your choices did not have a quarterback. I think you overlooked that one, but that's okay.
It happens.
Black and silver, baby.
Hey, I'm gonna get a hoodie.
I'm gonna get a hoodie.
Nice hoodies.
That's true.
They have nice hoodies.
They do have a nice hood. They do have a nice apparel.
Yeah, they got nice merch. I like it.
But I will be waiting for my apparel because I didn't know this. I don't know when they first announced it, but they brought it back up yesterday. On Friday, the Vienna Vikings are releasing a new logo. Whole rebrand. Yeah, I know. Thanks for the gasp. It was great.
Yeah, you're welcome. We don't have a soundboard, so I thought I'd give you something there.
What?
What?
But yeah, Vienna's getting a new logo, rebranding. They're going to keep the Vikings, keep the purple and gold. But I'm excited to see their new logo. I wish they'd throw out some teasers, but they're just like straight countdown, just 4 on the post. That's it. But
hey, you know what? That's fine because the Vienna Vikings follow us on Twitter.
That's true.
And
shout out.
It makes me smile every time I see them reply to us.
It's always a funny gift too. Like their social media.
Oh yeah. Their social media person.
S-tier
top
gift
tier.
responder. S-tier gift responder.
They got the memes. We love the memes.
But yeah, I'll be waiting until hopefully they get maybe they'll rebrand their jersey a little bit. I'm waiting for that. And I'm waiting for the 2024 jerseys to drop because right now online it's all only the 2023. So we kind of need to pester the elf to figure out more information about when they're dropping.
Pester the elf.
Yep.
Yeah. Got to make sure Will Ferrell knows
he's we're
pestering
elf.
him. Speaking of things that need to be rebranded or are in the process of being rebranded, what were you going to say?
Can I bring up one more elf thing?
Oh yeah, no. Dang, you just killed. I had a bomb ass segue.
I know.
Yeah, y'all see that? I'm out here top tier podcasting,
and I'm ruining.
But I'll let you go. I'll let you go.
I'm kind of hoping to manifest where it's in the works already, but for everyone, including us, who are a little confused on the whole rules of the elf, like how their rosters work. Yes, the games are played like the NFL. However, their roster controls, because you only have like 4 Americans or something like that. We are talking to someone who will be our first, maybe not the first, but will be a guest star who knows a lot more about the elf than we do in an upcoming episode before the season starts. So hopefully,
I actually just so we can give him his credit, I'm going on to Twitter. Just so everybody knows, his name is Euroball Chow. His name is Alex Malchow, and he he is a self-proclaimed European Adam Schefter.
And if we can get the European Adam Schefter on our side, that is great.
Dude, we're rocking with Alex because Alex is rocking with us.
Yep. So if you want Alex to be on the pod, go like his tweets or something. I don't know.
Yeah, give him a follow. Yeah.
Show him some love.
Yeah, we'll have before the first week kickoff, we're definitely going to have him on the pod because, there are definitely some rules that need to be broken down to us. There's also a long-standing history with some of these teams that it would be nice to be able to get some insight on because he's got a really deep understanding of the league, its history, and everything else. Because before I became a Raiders Tyrol fan, I had no idea that we had major beef with the Vienna Vikings. So I know that me and Danny, just for the sake of being friends and coworkers, were just like, oh, Battle of Austria. But like, no, truly, they take that shit seriously over there. So,
it'll
be a lot.
Yeah, and about other guests, I didn't even tell you this I didn't even tell you I was bringing this up, but we will be having, after the Super Bowl, we'll be inviting other guests on to talk about their specific teams and dissecting how their interpretation of dissecting their team's past season and what they want them to do in free agency and the draft and how they feel they're going to play next year.
Yeah, it'll be a really good way for the NFL community to, come in, have a sit down discussion with us. I think that'll be a really good way because, the hard thing about this podcast is, unlike other football podcasts, we cover all football, obviously, not just NFL, obviously, UFL, ELF, we're just football people. And this will give an opportunity to a lot of unspoken NFL voices and fan bases to be able to voice their opinions, let you know how they felt like things went, good or bad, and kind of project what the future looks like. So I think it'll be a really cool way for us to kind of build some community here and and
if you want
however that
one
looks.
of the guests, message us on one of our social medias with your team, and if we don't have that team yet, you might be able to be on a podcast because it'd be great. I gathered all the data. We're over 200 views or listens on both platforms right now in only 7 episodes. So I feel like from starting from nothing late in the season, that's pretty solid.
And this past episode between Apple Pods and Spotify, we hit 50 listens.
So thank you everyone for that, honestly.
Yes, thank you. It sounds like the expert analysis is experting really well.
Too bad our expert left. Tanner.
Yeah, right. Well, hey, good news is we're talking about the Pro Bowl next, and you don't need to be an expert to talk shit about the Pro Bowl.
That is why we're still here, because it's the Pro Bowl time, baby.
Oh, man. So, Pro Bowl is this upcoming Sunday. It's the Pro Bowl. Yeah.
It's football, some stupid games.
Yeah, the hard part is, and this is something that, I feel like a lot of different of the major 4 sports, at least, struggle with this. And I understand it's the Pro Bowl. You don't want to, if you're let's say a wide receiver, I'll pick a random one here. You're CeeDee Lamb. You don't want to tear something in the Pro Bowl and then miss, half the next season.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens when you look at like the NBA All-Star game. Like, people just don't play hard.
No.
And it's just like a whatever deal. And I think the NFL gets really up in arms because people don't want to watch it. It's like, because it's not an exciting product.
Yeah, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah, and I just don't know how you get those guys to play hard when they already make so much money. It's not like you could be like, well, hey, the winning team, every player gets $500K. Like that works in the instance of like the NBA in-season tournament, where you've got a lot of dudes who are on rookie contracts and all this other stuff that are like, yo, $500,000 would be big. Yeah. Whereas like this is the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme. Like these guys make so much money that, okay, $500K, whatever,
But yeah, like back, what is it? Early 2000s, when you would have people hitting each other. Like it's just a different generation of football. Like they now are previously, like when we were a lot younger, that generation of football, they wanted to play football. That's all they wanted to do. Nowadays, they're like, oh, they wanted to assert dominance over people. They were trying to be the alpha male, but now it's like, oh, well, I don't want to play this year because I might get hurt and lose out on $200 million. It's like, yes, $200 million is a lot of money, more than most people will ever see in their life.
More than we will ever get on this pod.
But like their rookie contracts are still worth $25 million. Like,
sorry, that's my alarm. Ignore it.
Hello? Hi.
That was my alarm.
Thank you for calling into our podcast. But yeah, it's a different generation, and they're like you said, they're playing not to get hurt. And I don't know what.
And I mean, I get it
to make it a better showcase.
Yeah, that's what makes it such a conundrum. Is like I don't fault them for not wanting to do it because at the end of the day, like $200 million is a lot of money, And if I'm a quarterback and if I'm Brock Purdy, let's say, like if Brock Purdy were in this instead of the Super Bowl, and I'm looking at him like, dog, I'm on a rookie contract deal and I was the last pick in the draft. I want to get paid. I'm not going to ruin my chances of that. And so, I mean, I don't hate the fact that they switched it to a flag football thing because everyone for the longest time joked around and said, you might as well play flag football. And so here we are.
And they did. And then Jalen Ramsey still laid out Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. That was incredible.
But
that was incredible.
Alongside the flag football game, they do have a bunch of skills challenges. I don't know why one is on Thursday and then one is on like Sunday or whatever it is. But they do.
Yeah, they should all be back to back.
Yeah, they do have precision passing where they each pick 3 quarterbacks from each conference. Total score wins. That should be pretty exciting. I feel like there's a lot of pretty accurate quarterbacks. Then they have the best catch, which best will feature 1 player from each conference. There's more than enough wide receivers. Throw in more than one. Like,
yeah, you could have like 3 from each, like, and get some serious, crazy, fun stuff in there.
Like, they're just gonna be standing there watching anyways. Let them go do a flip or something. They're diving into like a foam pit. Then they're making football players play golf. Why? I don't know. I don't know why this was even a thing.
Yeah, I thought closest to the pin was kind of dumb.
Yeah, like it's like, what's the Saints defensive lineman? Jordan. I forget his first name. I don't know. Jordan from the Saints. He golfed last year. He could barely hit the ball like 15 yards. It's like they're not golfers.
Yeah.
Then you go to high stakes. Each player will attempt to catch punts from a jug machine, and every time they catch it, they have to keep the ball in their hands. The person with the most balls before they drop them wins. Which that's kind of exciting. Like once you get up to like 4 balls, like it's funny to see where they place them to be able to give them a chance to catch it. Like some will just like put them in their legs or like up in their armpits or.
The dodgeball one's fun.
Yeah.
Again, that's not like the problem is the NFL is trying to make money from the Pro Bowl, and like the dodgeball event, that's more of like hey, we're taking the family out on a Saturday to go to the All-Star dodgeball event to raise a little bit of money for charity. Yeah, like that's not a headlining ESPN type of thing.
We get to see Nick Bosa throw a dodgeball at Myles Garrett. It's like, cool.
I mean, if Nick Bosa throws that ball, I wouldn't be surprised if it, magically said the N-word with the hard R as it passed through. Sorry, that was my outside voice. We're going to move on from that. There's kick-tack-toe.
That will be fun. I'm going to ignore what
I'm most looking forward to kick-tack-toe. I think that'll be cool. Letting the kickers battle it out.
Yeah. My favorite is the new one for this year. I will say kick-tack-toe seems pretty fun. Do they have to slowly back up? Like, do they start at like a 20, like a extra point? Then do they go to like a 30-yard, 40-yard, 50-yard? It doesn't say.
No, it just says that they have to, basically there's like a type of kick per each square, and they have to complete that. And once they get 3 in a row, however they complete that square.
It says 3 in a row or 5 squares total will earn 3 points. And then the new one for this year, which will represent the most forgotten position in football, the long snapper. It's basically the precision passer, but for long snappers. They're just going to be snapping at points, basically. Just snapping at targets.
How thrilling.
Yep. That's my words. Invigorating.
Honestly... Again, I know players wouldn't sign up for this. Actually, there might be a couple, but I would love it if they, one of the bigger events, they said, all right, we're going to run Oklahoma drills.
That'd be great.
AFC versus NFC. Dog, I would tune in for that.
Well, they do that. What is the one where it's like the relay race where they do have, it's not an Oklahoma drill, but they have them run through walls, like the foam walls. They're running into stuff, but not into each other.
Nah, I would love, yes. I want a Fred Warner versus Derrick Henry type of Oklahoma drill. I want it to hurt but again, these guys don't want to get hurt, and I understand.
Lower injury, that tire pull, tug a tire or whatever. Like you set a tire on the ground, you pull it to one side or the other. It's not bad. Doesn't have a high injury rate, and that's still showing strength.
Actually, a fun event that they could do is pitting offensive and defensive linemen against each other, and basically doing the drill where the defensive lineman's trying to get to the tackle dummy or whatever. Yeah. That could be fun.
Yeah,
that could be a lot of fun.
So NFL, if you need help with your Pro Bowl, let us know.
Yeah, let us know here at the Fourth Down Fiasco. Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up our time. We appreciate everyone who listens. Shout out to the 50 people who listened to this past episode. That is
appreciate you.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, we so appreciate you. Yeah. And it encourages us to continue moving forward with this, as well as, I think that once we hit the ELF season 2, I think that we're going to get a very niche following from that. And I think that next season, whenever we start actually at the beginning of the season and not, 2/3 of the way through the season.
Week 14 is not a good time to start a football podcast?
Who would have guessed? I think that we'll be better off. But yeah, the fact that people are actually listening to us now, and I've had friends message me and be like, hey, this is what I listen to on my drive to work and stuff like that. So we appreciate all y'all. This has been... Yep.
My friend texted me yesterday. He's like, how'd you guys not pick Uncle Rico? He's like, he could throw him over a mountain or throw the ball over the mountain. I was like, well, he just wasn't in our top 3, apparently.
Yeah, he got
snubbed.
Uncle Rico.
Yeah, me too.
He did get snubbed. Snubbed.
I honestly, I would have taken Uncle Rico to completed my team of misfits.
Shoot, yeah, I probably would have taken Uncle Rico over Joe Kingman, now that I think about it. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. This has been the Fourth Down Fiasco with Danny Weber, Tanner Vinsky, who had to leave for the 3rd segment, and myself, Jordan Pryor. We will see y'all next week, and we will prepare for the Super Bowl matchup that none of us were hoping for.
Have a great
Bye, weekend. Everyone. See ya.
Peace.
And I'm gonna keep doing them both because they make me feel good.